Hello and welcome to the Dogon podcast. Today we're going to talk about the Trump almost assassination.
Yeah, I mean, geez, I was up late last night doing a TikTok live.
Oh, yeah. And that one was popping. How many viewers were on that one? I couldn't really see.
Total, we had 22,000 viewers come through. At one
point, was
point,
like peak, I guess.
Peak was like 580 people in the room at once. Yeah, that's why I was like, normally I'm asleep by then, and I just couldn't get myself to shut it off.
I mean, at that point, it's worth it. We got like 44 followers and I think 1 YouTube subscriber, so not bad.
Yeah, I mean, definitely worked out, and it was a good discussion. The reason I did it, the reason I started it is because I was on a bunch of other lives, and it blew my mind how many people were saying, I wish he wouldn't have turned his head. I can't believe they didn't get him. You had one, and like on Twitter or on X, it was trending like, you had one job, dude. I can't believe you missed the shot. Like stuff like that was trending to the point where I think Elon Musk was so upset by it that he literally came out and endorsed Trump right after it.
Oh, wow. I mean, it is really messed up. I can get the jokes and stuff. You know, I joke about it too. But at the same time, when you're being serious and saying things like that, I mean, I don't want anybody to get killed. It doesn't really matter who you are. It could be my worst enemy, but I don't really want you to die.
Yeah, I mean, I want justice. I don't want, like some radical public execution. I mean, that's insane.
And there's a lot of people out there. One person actually came onto our TikTok and they were commenting all kinds of weird stuff. Like, I'm not even going to say because it's really weird. Yep. But you can go and watch it or go and see if you want. But they were advocating for Trump to get shot. They wanted him to get killed. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't want Biden to get killed. I don't want fucking Trump to get killed. I don't want anybody to get killed, really.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want, Biden to, slip further into cognitive decline.
I mean, if you could take a pill and just not be brain rotted anymore, that'd be cool.
I'd be down with that. But it's just like, I don't know, it was just overwhelming to the point where I was like, all right, I'm going to get on here. I'm going to do a live about just creating safe spaces for opposition.
Yeah, and that is extremely important. And when I don't know, there's just such a division in this country. I mean, people want to kill each other over the smallest, to me, government issues is, why would you want to kill someone over that?
I mean, it gets to a point where they get people thinking that things are so bad, that things are to a point where we need to take action towards a politician. You know what I mean? And just a week before, you had Biden saying, okay, this has gone too far. We need to put Trump in the crosshairs. I mean, he literally said that. I
don't think he meant by real crosshairs, but I think it's still I don't know.
It's not good rhetoric to say out loud, right?
To a president.
Yeah, I mean, for anybody to say about anybody, if Trump said we need to put Biden or Hillary in the crosshairs, it'd be game over.
Yeah, they would go all after him, and the amount of people that were saying oh, it's a BB gun or staged or whatever. But 2 people right behind him got shot and killed by the bullets, and you could hear them. They were bullets, not a BB gun.
Yeah, there was a lot of shots that rang off. There was a lot of response. I heard very, very clearly from Secret Service, that it was a shooter is down. We got the shooter, and it's for people to say, it took CNN 3 hours to say possible assassination.
I know, because they just didn't want to say it. But if you just want to be raw and real, that's the best way to be a news operation,
Yeah. There was news places saying he fell and cut his ear. He fell on the stage and was escorted off for 3 hours, even after it was super clear it was an assassination
Definitely
attempt.
not. He just ducked down. There's really no way he could have just bumped his ear and started bleeding,
Yeah, and then somehow that bump turned into
somehow 2 people died behind him for fun, I guess.
That's insane. But yeah, it's really crazy. And the part that got me the most was all the people saying oh, I wish he would have gotten killed. I wish he would have that was just nuts to me. Not thinking about his family, not thinking about the other families of the people who were behind him and got killed. Yeah. That doctor who tried to save that one person in the stands just looked fucked up for the rest of his life from that, covered in blood.
A lot of people think that way, and I know a lot of people are always going to think that way. But it's just not the right thing. People shouldn't die over politics.
Yeah. And it's if you have to be comfortable with, if you think that, if your thought process was, oh, I wish we would have killed Trump, or oh, I wish they would have got Trump, if that's your thought process and you're comfortable to say that out loud to other people in chat rooms and on comments and on Facebook, you have to be honest with yourself that you have serious sociopathic tendencies that you should talk to someone about.
If someone disagrees with you, that means you're probably willing to kill them if it goes far enough,
Well, that's the thing. We had this one gentleman, I was trying to get opposition of. Everyone's like, oh, I don't like Trump. And I'm like, no, I don't want opposition of Trump or not Trump. I want opposition of like, do you think that this was a good thing or not? And there was so many people who thought it was a good thing that I had endless guests coming up and literally just talking about how they wish Trump would have gotten shot. And this one guy, he was like, yeah, for Trump saying that he wanted to close the border, that's enough, for him to get killed. And I said, okay.
Let me go through your entire timeline of everything you've ever said in your entire life, and let me find the one thing that you should get killed for.
Right? No, but then it's like, I said to him, I was like, okay, so you think that it's okay to kill somebody if they want to close the Mexican border? And he's like, yeah, absolutely. And I was like, okay, well, do you think it's okay to, like, what is your line where it's like, oh, that person's annoying and, oh, I'm going to shoot and kill that person? And he was like, well, if you vote for Trump. And I was like, okay. I was like, so if we're talking, we're having a discussion.
Like mass genocide at this point.
Right? And I'm like, so we're having a discussion across the table. I say, I'm going to vote for Trump, and at this point, it's okay to shoot me. And he was like, yes, it is. And I was like, okay, well, that is insane, bro.
Yeah,
I was like, that is not something that is acceptable or okay in any way. And he's like, yeah, it is. And I was like, okay, so is it okay for me then? If I disagree with you, do you think that I should then shoot you? And he was like, oh, I don't know, man. That's your opinion. And I'm like, and he's like, this is just my opinion. I'm like, no, this ain't an opinion when you're talking about ending somebody else's life because they disagree with you.
I don't know. A lot of people are joking about it, but a lot of people are very serious. And sometimes it's hard to tell, but at the same time, it's just not a good thing.
Well, people who are joking about it, again, that type of joke is on a sociopathic level.
Right.
I mean, that is like, we have actual families who had one less person under their roof last night.
I know, 2 people died.
And plus the shooter. I mean, look, I'm not the kind of guy who's going to be like, that shooter deserves to be killed. Like, I'm not even that guy. I'm not, like, the fact that they blew his head off with 40 shots,
I think it was deserved, but...
Well, yeah, of course, you got to neutralize the threat. Right. But at the same time, that guy still has family. That guy has a mom.
Right.
That guy has a grandma.
I feel bad for those people.
Yeah, like, we got to think about that. Like, and we have to think about, like, if this is, and I'll say this, we've talked about this before, and I was like, yeah, but if they try to get Trump, he ain't going to die.
I know, and I was like, man, that's kind of crazy.
Like, they'll clip him, but they won't get him, and so that's always been my thought. But after this happened, I'm going to say right now we're going to see at least 5 more of these before the election. Yep. There is going to be more. Trump is not going to pull back from his rallies. He is not going to stop doing, any type of stage presentation. It doesn't matter. And with 3D printed guns and plastic guns and, firing, I mean, it's like you can get a gun into anywhere nowadays.
I mean, there's no way to stop it at all unless you just wear a vest and try to be safe about it. But, you know.
I mean, good thing liberals are a bad shot.
Yeah, I'm just saying. How many shots did you shoot? You killed 2 people you didn't even mean to kill?
And how could that guy shoot at Trump looking at a wall of people behind him? Like, how do you not think
if you just I don't know. This is kind of going. I don't know. I'm just saying, it's not that hard to shoot something.
Yeah,
I've shot a few guns.
He was apparently like 100 and some yards away, on top of a building, laying down. He was the guy on the building. There was some confusion.
Was it a rifle or a pistol? Or?
Yeah, it was a rifle, I guess.
So even worse. How did you miss that shot, man? I'm sorry, but
no, I know. And it's like now, but see, the thing is, when I saw Trump like and then you had like Jake Paul and then be like, that's the most badass thing to stop your security and pump your fist at the crowd in defiance of death, and it is. I know Trump's going to feel bad about that. Once he found out that those people passed away, I know he felt bad about doing that.
Yeah, I'm sure he had no idea that anybody died at that moment. But.
He probably thought they whizzed over him or something, but even going further than that, it's like when he, when all the dust settles, it is ultimately still a rhetoric out there that we almost got him. There was blood on his face. People who are on the edge of doing this are going to do this now. People who were thinking about this, but no, I could never.
It's okay now.
They're like, whoa, that guy got it. That guy
did it.
He got close. Man, I could be that guy. That's why that scares me more than anything about this.
Either suicidal people or psychopathic 100%. People.
100%. Well, yeah, they're not thinking logically.
Right.
They are lost in political ideology, and they think that if they kill this one person, somehow that's going to stop the 70-some million people who agree with him.
It's not going to stop much but your life.
Turn the guy into a martyr and watch what happens. Republicans will win, the House, Senate, and the presidency for the next 20 years.
If it's not Trump, it'll be the next guy,
Yep. It's just, and people don't understand the fabric of our country pulling apart right now with something like this. This is way more serious than anyone is leading up to or understanding or
right.
This is
a lot of presidents have been shot at. A lot of presidents have been shot, but I mean, it hasn't happened in a while.
Yeah, and it was kind of cool that this woman came to my live. She was a 22-year-old baddest bee. If you're watching this,
shout out.
Yeah, and she, she had such a great voice. I was like, you need to do a podcast. It's the first thing I said.
Maybe we can get you on here, maybe video live or some shit.
She's super intelligent. She's got a master's in chemistry. She's like 22.
Yeah, I mean,
she's smart as hell. But we were talking to her, and she was like, well, she's like, go back in American history and think about who's been shot. JFK. Abraham Lincoln, and she listed like all these people, and she was like, all those people were doing great things.
Rest in peace, my man Abe.
Yeah, right. I know, man.
That
John
was one of my
Wilkes
favorites.
Booth. Yeah. I even have a rap for that. He'll tell you a story. He'll tell you the truth. He'll sneak up behind you like John Wilkes Booth. But little Abe rap. But I don't know. It's pretty interesting to see this beginning of this new. I mean, we're one. You'll probably cut this part out, but whatever. But it's like back when we fought the Civil War, I think there was like 3 or 6% of people who wanted a civil war.
Yeah.
Now there's like 40-some%.
Yeah, because I mean,
people don't realize how dangerously close we are to complete destruction. I think it's more likely, people are like, oh, this was staged or Biden did it. I think it's more likely that
I don't think Biden can hold a gun.
Yeah, no, I mean like put him up to it or paid the guy. But I think it's more likely that Putin or the Chinese country did this. I think it's more likely that this possible. Is a international interference.
I think
to try to cause.
I think that's very possible,
unrest.
But I personally think it was just some crazy motherfucker that just wanted to kill him.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. The details about him aren't that clear yet.
I actually don't know anything about him. I don't know.
The FBI has, let me see. FBI has gotten a lot of information out so far. So let me just go ahead and pull this up real quick. Man, but see, some of these like Trump shooting live updates, suspected gunman killed, spectator killed, another one injured. The shooter is identified as 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Cooks from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. He was immediately killed by Secret Service. A motive is still not known. The shots were fired from an elevated position outside the Secret Service security perimeter for the venue. So now we're going to see that security perimeter increase. We're going to see, I mean, just the fact that we saw some SWAT in that tactical action like so quickly and so many people there, that was wild to me. But a spectator was also killed and 2 were critically injured in the shooting.
Only 1 person died?
Yep. The Secret Service said, although it did not provide further details, which I'm really, really glad that, in a way, glad, I hate to say that, but...
Well, I mean, it's horrible that somebody died, but...
Yeah, I'm glad that it was one, but also I'm glad that it wasn't crossfire from Secret Service that killed him.
Right.
Like...
That would have been even worse.
It's one thing, like a stray bullet, like one of them that went through Trump's ear, could like the other one that went by him. And I've heard, we were standing on my deck when I was a kid, and we were outside, and all of a sudden we hear... and the side of our house blew up. The siding was like, and then a window blew up. My dad was like, "Get the
like
fuck
a drive-by
down!"
or something?
No, this hunter in the backwoods, 4 acres away, just shooting at a tree like an idiot, and with a handgun, and just boom, boom, boom.
You
and
have to know what you're shooting at,
and it's coming. My dad, the bullets. We see them coming out of the tree line, and they're like hitting branches, and branches are falling, and then they're like hitting the house, and we're like literally crawling on our stomachs to get inside the house. And I thought my brothers and I thought it was badass. Like we thought it was so cool because my dad raised us like, we were trained, we weren't raised, so like we were always at that point in time, we were working on martial arts forms out on the back deck. So like we were in the middle of like warrior mode anyways. And so we were like, oh my God, like
oh shit.
And my dad used to do stuff with like firecrackers and shit where it's like, all right, this is a training. Like he's messing with us, getting us ready. But no, when I saw my dad go inside and he like looked around and he found like this stick that my German Shepherd dog like brought in, and he grabbed it and storms out the door, red as can be, right out where the shots are coming, goes down the steps where the shots are coming, and right in the woods where the shots are coming, just furious. And you hear screaming. My dad comes back with the guy's handgun and told him to come get it in a couple hours when my dad was calm. And apparently the guy was like, I don't know how he like got the gun from the guy and then walked back, but
he was probably like, holy shit, man, I'm so sorry. He's like, give me your fucking gun right now.
Yeah.
He's like, okay.
That's exactly what it probably was. But so then he like came back and sat on the table and he like talked to us about like shooting into the hill and shoot, like he gave us like this whole lesson about where to shoot when you're practice shooting and what to think about. And but so what I was saying about that is I know how bullets sound. So like when you look at Trump and he's like it's like, oh my gosh, what is that?
It's a snap. It's a whiz. I mean,
yeah, it literally sounds like
yeah,
as it goes by you, and it gets quicker the closer it gets, and then it gets quiet, like it gets farther apart in the as it gets farther away, and it's like, so you hear like, what's that noise? Oh my gosh, it's close. Oh whoa,
yeah, you can hear them literally whiz by. I mean, it's one of the craziest sounds.
Yeah, no, it really is, and it's different every time.
I've never been shot at in real life, but I have heard plenty of shots go off, and I mean, it's just terrifying.
Yeah, that was pretty nuts and to see like the impact when it would hit the siding at our house, that was nuts. Like I didn't think like a bullet would do it, but it's plastic siding, so it just like,
so it just shattered.
But yeah, so that was, I don't know. I just think that this is just going to start an avalanche of insanity where it's not going to be at a rally. It's going to be like this is going to be the whole, the Ronald Reagan and this is going to be when he's walking around and he's shaking the hand of a little girl. Some guy's going to pop out of the crowd and boom, like that's the kind of stuff that is terrifying, because now that blood on his face, a lot of people are on the Republican side or Trump side are like, yeah, did you see that man? Oh man, that's gonna be an iconic photo for all of American history.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that picture of Secret Service literally covering him and him pushing through and pumping his fist at the crowd, that's going to be iconic. But to the other side, that was, we can wound him, we can get him. And you got to remember the people who are already thinking in the terms of like, because there's probably thousands of people out there who specifically have bought equipment and guns and scopes just for the purpose of killing him,
of assassinating that man.
And now they're like, okay, it's go time, and now I'm really big on, psyops within the government. Like it's very well known that our government understands, and a lot of people understand, how to psychologically program the masses. You can do it with certain trigger words, with certain repetitive words, subliminal messaging. So it's like, is there something being said? Is put Trump in the crosshairs? Was that something that was programmed in through TV shows and through organizations? I mean, I know that's very conspiratorial, but at the same time, you got to remember, conspiracy theory was something invented during the JFK investigation to discredit people who had actual facts that were against the narrative. Like that wasn't something that was a normal talked about thing until our government was like, you're a conspiracy theorist if you think that this happened. And it's like, well, people are like, well, I have proof. And they're like, well, conspiracy theorist. And it's stuck, and it's been that way since then. And it's like, so how do we get real information out when you're just going to be put into this category of crazy? I don't know. I
don't know.
That was just crazy and people do not understand the gravity of the situation. The amount of weakness that is portrayed internationally right now. If China, Russia, if anyone was going to do anything, it's going to be now.
Right, because we're already fucking struggling with ourselves.
Dude, we got a president who's got dementia, and we have the other one
almost
got shot.
Right?
I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, people are going to be like, almost assassinated. No, we need to change it to Trump got shot.
Yeah, he literally did.
He got shot. I mean, if you look at you can go on, I think.
If it was literally a fucking millimeter to the right, he was dead.
No, if he didn't okay, his screen is like right there. He went like this to look at his screen, and it went like, so if he wouldn't have turned his head, it would have went through his cheekbone. He probably still would have lived.
He would have lived, but it would have been way worse.
Dude, imagine his face blown. Like, I
think he would have still got up and been like, fuck you, motherfucker.
He still would be running. I mean, I guarantee you. Like, right now, like, and somebody tried to, like, get me in trouble last night, too, on the live, because this guy was like, I honestly thought it was Melania. And I, like laughed my ass off for some reason, just because
it was like, funny.
It was all this tension. And he was like, yeah, it was Melania because Barron's too tall or something. And I was like, geez, oh, Pete. And this guy's like, you guys are evil for making jokes. And I was like, look, dude, I've been on this live for 6 hours. I normally am in bed by now, and I'm exhausted. Like, I'm sorry that caught me off guard, and I'm
an advocate for comedy in dark times.
Same.
I don't think it's a bad thing.
Like, I had a friend of mine's dad, it was shortly after my dad passed away, and he was like, I'm not doing anything today. I know we were going to go somewhere, and my car was broken down, and he had said, oh, if you need help getting to your car, I'll drive you. And I was like, hey, man, I was like, is there any way? And right after, he was like, I'm not going anywhere today. And I was like, hey, is there any way you could give me a ride to my car? I would ask my dad, and he was like, yeah, no, I can give you a ride, because it was right after my dad passed away. And I was like, I'm sorry. That's just like, I joked about that stuff to make it easier for me and to make it easier for others, because they were all like tiptoeing and acting like, oh, you're hurt, But so, yeah, I understand humor in dark times. If you're not making fun of the families who lost somebody, if you're not, making fun of the situation in a way that's going to perpetuate violence, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Everyone processes this kind of stuff differently.
Right.
I mean, right now we're seeing people go through layers of cognitive dissonance. They thought our world was, I mean, Trump is one of the most protected people on the planet.
Right. I mean, nobody's invincible.
I know. But think about that. Like, Trump spends millions of dollars in personal funds for security, plus Secret Service.
Right. But nothing can stop somebody from getting on top of a building somewhere random and just...
Well, hey, there was some reports that witnesses saw him climbing up, reported it to police officers and to auxiliary police, like not Secret Service, but
believe it or
tactical. They didn't do anything, according to the two witnesses. So it's like, I'd like to see what comes out from that. I'd like to see, we have like, I don't know, it's part of me thinks like Elon Musk has, you know, he's got eyes in the sky where that guy can look at any moment of time on the planet Earth he wants to with satellite imagery perfectly. Like, people don't realize the amount of power that Elon Musk has with what he currently has in space, in orbit right now.
Right.
Like, he's got trails of satellites. So part of me thinks like when like the fact that Elon Musk came out and endorsed Trump, I think he knows a lot more about how this happened and what happened than anybody else.
It's possible.
I think he pulled it up right away, and you know, I think it might be more, you know, nefarious than we think. And I think the powers that be within our government might have actually been involved in this coming forward just because of the reaction or lack of reaction we're seeing on some parts of our government, and then the reaction we're seeing in the private sector. People who are well connected to these individuals are like, yep, I'm done. Trump's the one. I'm not playing this game anymore. Like, this is too fucking serious.
I'm not trying to get killed anymore.
Yeah, you know, so I mean, I don't know. I just really think that this is going to change everything. You know, I don't know. A lot of people are like, oh, well, you shouldn't use this as a reason to vote for Trump. I don't think you should either.
No.
But I think you should be very honest with yourself about where we're at as a country and make the right decision based off of like safety for your family. I mean, that's...
Right. I mean, it should never come down to pulling a trigger on someone.
Ever.
But I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, what was the craziest thing that you saw yesterday or that you thought about yesterday?
I don't know. I just thought it was nuts that people were trying to say it was staged or like it was a BB gun or, I mean, it was just so obvious. I mean, you hear the pop, 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 and he gets down and he's fucking bleeding. 2 people are fucking shot or whatever.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the whole stage thing is really like false flag or like inside job or like FBI being involved with training, you know, because you got to remember, like,
if it was, okay, let me just say, if it was staged, nobody would have got killed. And if it was an FBI agent, he would have shot it, or he would have hit his shot.
Yeah, amen. You know,
he was trained for long enough to hit that shot.
Yep.
I mean, that's what makes me think it was like some random idiot because, I mean, nobody can miss that.
And did you see there's this guy in the background? Gosh, what's his name? His last name is like Fucus or something.
I don't know.
But anyways, this guy his last name is Fucus. Gosh, I wish I could find his info. But if you watch when it happens, everyone in the crowd freaks out and is like this, and he's like standing up tall, looking back and forth.
Was he in the crowd?
Yep, right behind Trump. And he's like, you know, some people say there's some conspiracies that like he's JFK Jr. or something, like, you know, that died in the plane crash, and it's like all this conspiracy shit, and you know, but it was just like,
well, he could have just been a spotter for the guy on top.
Yeah, I mean, it was just weird, the fact his non-reaction. You know, so, you know, maybe, again, I don't want to get it, you know, conspiratorial, but maybe you guys can look into that and find out who this Fucus guy is, Fucas, because that was just really weird to see him not react. Like, that was the part that I was like, what is he doing? Why is he...
Most people would be like, oh, I don't want to get shot, you know, I'm going to get down, but if you know you're not going to get shot, you're not going to.
Yeah, right, you know. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know, same with like the JFK assassination, when you see the driver relaxed, turned around, and, you know, there's certain things in these actions where it's like, well, that doesn't seem to line up with what happened everywhere else around him. What's really going on, you know?
I just know how powerful money is, so anybody can do anything.
Amen. Yeah, people do not understand I mean, we're talking about billions, hundreds of billions, trillions of dollars behind some of these people, behind some of these organizations.
And it could have been a hit from somebody, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, we've, you know, a lot of us have been saying this from the beginning that, like, if they can't get, you know, this is when we first talked about this. They've tried to stop Trump legally. They've tried to stop Trump with rhetoric of saying that he had like a January 6th, tried to overthrow the government. I've said they're going to try to kill him. Like, 100%.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it for a second. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't doubt that for most presidents, but...
Tucker Carlson said that.
Especially Trump.
Yeah. I mean, just a few weeks ago, Tucker Carlson was like, well, yeah, that's the only move they have left. Try to kill him. That's it. It's going to happen. And it was like, yeah, I 100% agree with that. And that's how we got to where we are now.
Anybody would probably get shot at, it would probably be him, because he just pisses a lot of people off. I mean, unintentionally, really, but.
Yeah. And that's what it comes back to. You have to get more comfortable with being offended, and you have to get more comfortable with disagreeing with people and still looking at them and saying, hey, I think what you think is completely wrong.
And I know what it is. It's because if a lot of people are in this kind of like circle or this bubble to where like if you think one thing, you're no longer a part of this group, or like you're no longer my friend. I can't ever talk to you about this. You know,
they call it echo chambers.
Right.
And so they only interact and communicate with people who agree with what they think on like an ideological perspective.
Changing their idea or their perspective is just too fucking far out of their reach, you know.
And it creates a very dangerous circular pattern of like reaffirming.
It's because people identify too closely with like their political beliefs with like who they are as a person, and I don't think that's right, you know.
Yeah, 100%. Like you shouldn't have this tribalism, and you know, like I said, even if you're like everything you say I disagree with, you have to still in your mind, you have to be like, but this person is doing the best they can with what they have and what they know. And if you can't assume that with somebody, you shouldn't even communicate with them.
Right.
Because if you can't have that assumption, you're not going to be able to listen to them clearly. You're not going to give them respect that they deserve. And that's going to create animosity and disconnect. And you guys are never going to communicate anyways. But so we have to create safe space for opposition. And it's not going to work with that echo chamber of like,
I know,
if you don't agree with me, fuck you.
You just have to be open-minded, like, listen for a second. I don't know.
Well, it's because we got down this whole, woke bullshit of, you don't want to offend somebody. You don't want to be offensive. You don't want to. No, you know what? When I grew up, my parents taught me how to be offended, and how to be offended with grace, and how to be offended with character and integrity.
And then just like get over it.
Yeah. And just be like, and not discount the other person's value. Like some people were like discounting the value of his life because of beliefs that he has.
I could be friends with anybody that believes anything unless it's really harmful, but.
Yeah. But then it comes down to like, okay, where is the line where you violently take out a politician? Where is that line? Like,
I don't think there is a line unless they're like Hitler, but.
Yeah, no, but for real, but like, where does that Hitler line start? Like.
When he starts killing people for no reason.
Well, Obama dropped 11,000 bombs on civilian areas in Syria.
Yeah.
Killed.
I think that's pretty terrible.
Thousands of people. And then he got a Nobel Peace Prize, like a month later.
I also don't really know a lot about it, so.
Yeah, no, but I know, and that's the thing, like, our media and the control of the narratives are so strong. Would you know when they're Hitler-like? Would you know when they were overreaching around the world? Like, do you know what's going on in other countries news-wise?
Not really.
It's scary, but like, when do we realize or recognize when our government or our politicians are out of control? I don't think we have the mechanisms to recognize that. I think it'll be too late.
It might be, but I know that there would be a line and I could tell, but I just don't know if I would be able to tell in time. I don't know.
Right? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, with how quickly things move, it's like, we'd be like, this is, now we're in a camp.
Yeah, shit. They just built it around me. Fuck.
Oh, damn it. They just put up fences. That's crazy. Like I really think like that's what kind of gets at me is like, I don't think we have the time reaction as a populace to defend against a tyrannical government anymore.
I think we have enough firepower, but we would have to actually unify instead of be so divided.
Yeah, because don't get me wrong, for continuity of government purposes, our government has definitely assessed the civilian threat of firearms. Definitely.
I believe, I assume that they would start using much larger weapons than most civilians can actually obtain, but
yeah, that would have to be the go-to. But man, that's all crazy talk. But the thread and the fabric of our republic is tearing so strongly and rapidly right now that I honestly don't know where this will stop. I don't know where this will end.
And I think all of this division is really not good, especially when we think about like what's going on in Russia, what's going on in China, what's going on in all these other places. Very hostile towards the U.S.
Yeah.
So I think if we kind of get our fucking heads out of our asses and like kind of be together and not be so fucking divided, like kind of defend ourselves from the outside instead of fucking eating ourselves from the inside.
Yeah, it's kind of like everyone has that family member where you're like, yeah, man, he's an idiot, or I don't agree with anything he says.
But you don't want him to die.
It's your family.
You still love him.
Yeah, you still will protect him and take care of him. Like, we need to look at fellow Americans like that.
Right, because, at the end of the day, I don't know, we're
all we got.
We're still I mean, we're all in this fucking together, really, but a lot of us aren't.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We have to learn to remember, just assume that the other person, even if you think I'm wrong or I'm stupid, just assume that I'm doing the best I can with what I have and what I know, and then try to bring new information towards me in not an aggressive way, but in a way that opens up new conversations and creates new dialogue and maybe creates new level of understanding. You know, like that's what we have to do, and it's not a comfortable position. It's not easy. It's hard to have those difficult conversations. I encourage everybody to read the book Crucial Conversations, because it shows you when you disagree with somebody, you either practice silence or violence. What we saw today was, or yesterday was violence, and what we see a lot of times on TikTok or in debates is silence, where people just like, they shut out. You know, they don't talk to you, like you said, with that. You know, if you don't fit their echo chamber, you know, they bounce.
Yeah.
And so we have to get rid of that silence and that violence, the echo chambers, and that horrible actions like what we saw yesterday. And that's the only way.
Keep dialogue open with people. Don't just cut somebody off because they said something that makes you upset. You know.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. And hopefully you guys liked this episode. We didn't want to go too much into details. We just kind of wanted to talk about what we thought about it, because it was just,
I don't know. It was pretty nuts. I didn't really expect something like that to happen, but it happened.
Yeah. It happened. It happened bigly.
And someone died, unfortunately.
Yeah, that is terrible. And we gotta give a special shout out to their families, to that doctor who tried to help, and to Secret Service for their fast response. I mean, craziness.
But we will see you on the next one.
Yeah.
Later.
Among Us.